Hey guys, welcome. This video is about anxiety, and in this video I'm going to explain exactly what anxiety is so you can understand what it is you might be going through. And also I want to explain step by step a series of questions that you can ask yourself to completely dissolve any anxiety that you might be feeling. So basically with anxiety, it's similar to a fear, but it's a little bit different. It's a splintering of a fear, if you like. So with a fear, what's going on in a fear is in your memory, you're remembering a moment in your past where you perceived more negative than positive, more drawback than benefit, more pain than pleasure to you. And so what happens then, because you've got this memory, anything in the future that reminds you of what happened here in the past, you're going to have a fear around, because the voice in your head is going to tell you, oh, I don't know about that. It reminds me of this thing that happened in the past where there was more pain to, and you're going to want to stay away and you're going to have a fear. And this is obviously a protective mechanism that humans have developed over millions of years to keep themselves safe from predators and this kind of thing. But sometimes it doesn't serve you in the modern world. And so that's what's going on with fear. Now, what's happening with an anxiety, it's similar, but it's a little bit different. With an anxiety, you've had a fear in the past where you've been consciously aware of the negative, you've been unconscious to the positive, you saw negative without positive, you saw pain without pleasure, you saw drawback without benefit, and there's a fear there and you don't want that to happen again because you only saw half of the picture, not the full picture. Now, what happens is, let's give an example here of, let's say, social anxiety. So it's a common one. So let's say that fear in the past, you were in a group of people and let's say somebody was criticizing you and attacking you in front of this group of people. And let's say in this moment, you then felt embarrassed and you felt vulnerable and all these people were looking at you and you felt bad. Okay, so now what's going on is you've got a fear of that happening again, because in the moment you saw more negative than positive, and so you want to avoid that in the future. Anything that reminds you of that social situation, you want to avoid. The anxiety component to this is kind of like a splintering. So let's say, for example, in this social anxiety, when this person was attacking you in front of this group of people, let's say that the person had black hair and they had black jeans and they had a blue shirt and they were kind of big and muscular. And let's say that in the future, you go out somewhere and you see someone that is very similar, but a slightly different build to that person. You're going to have kind of like a bad feeling. And you've heard people say, oh, I've got a bad feeling about this person. What's going on there is, because you've had this imbalanced perspective in the past of a negative about a positive, this person reminds you of this previous experience, and so you get a bad feeling and you get this anxiety feeling being around this person. Similar thing in an environment. Let's say that this social event happened in a pub, and now in the future you walk into a similar pub and it reminds you of this pub. And you walk into the pub and all of a sudden you're feeling anxious and you're feeling a little bit unsure and you're not sure what's going on. You say, I'm just feeling anxious. I got this social anxiety. I don't know what it is. Well, this current experience is reminding you of when you were in that pub and you had this negative about positive experience in your awareness. And so that's the anxiety. Anything that remind you of a previous one-sided experience is going to generate an anxiety with you. You might have just been drinking out of the same glass that you were drinking out of in that moment. And the glass reminds you of the experience and you feel anxious. Or maybe it was a similar group dynamic. You're now in front of a group of people and you're feeling anxious about speaking because you might say the wrong thing and people might criticize you. That anxiety, again, is coming off that one initial event. So with the anxiety, what we want to do, the way that you can dissolve this, now that you understand exactly what's going on and why you're feeling anxious, the way that you can dissolve this is you can look at This event that happened in the past, in my awareness, I saw negative and I didn't see positive. But in actuality, in the universe, you can never get a negative out of positive. They always come together. It's just in your awareness, you weren't sure of what the positive was. If you go back to that original event and you ask yourself, when I saw negative and I didn't see positive, what was the positive in that moment? What was the benefit to me? How did it serve me? What was the advantage I got out of it? When you start to see the positive equal to the negative, because it's always going to be there, it's just lacking in your conscious awareness, what you're doing is you're bringing the unconscious content of your mind. By asking the right questions, you bring it into your conscious awareness. So previously negative out positive, when you become conscious of the positive, you see both sides. Now you're seeing an event with both sides instead of a one-sided event. This is going to dissolve the fear, because as soon as you see that pain without pleasure, as soon as you saw the pleasure and the pain together, there's no more fear of it happening. And so that's mirrored into the future. You're no longer having a fear of this thing happen again, because in the past you saw both sides, so you don't really mind if it happens again. It's a two-sided event now. So that's anxiety and fear. Anxiety is anything that reminds you of a previous fear. And that's how you can dissolve it. By asking yourself the right questions, you can move through any emotional experience in your life. When you become aware of that, it's a very powerful thing, because no emotional experience can hold you back. It's just identifying what's the right question to ask here. So that is anxiety. That is exactly what causes anxiety. That is exactly how you can move through anxiety. If you have any questions, if you want some assistance with the process, reach out to me, send me a message on Instagram or Facebook or on my website, and I'd be happy to assist you. And I hope you got some value out of this video, and I'll see you on the next video.